A letter to the version of me that didn't survive. I've been living like someone died. And I only just realized the person I've been mourning is still here. I've just been pretending they're not. There's a version of me I stopped listening to. I didn't mean to. I didn't decide one day to ignore them. It happened so gradually I mistook it for something else. Maturity, maybe. Growth. Getting realistic. But here's what actually happened. I built walls so thick I forgot they were walls. I started thinking they were just who I am now. That version of me used to get curious about things for no reason. Not productive curiosity. Not the kind that advances anything. Just the kind where you notice something small and want to understand it. Where you take a different route home because you wonder what's down that street. Where you follow a thought just to see where it goes. I don't do that anymore. Now I optimize. I choose the fastest route. I decide whether something is worth my time before I even begin. And I've been calling that efficiency. But I'm starting to think it's something else. That version of me could sit with uncertainty. They didn't need to know how things would turn out. They could exist in the space between asking and answering. They could wait without filling the silence with disaster scenarios. I can't do that now. Now when I don't know what's going to happen, my mind immediately starts preparing for the worst. Not because I'm pessimistic, because I'm practical. If I've already imagined the worst version, I won't be caught off guard. I'll be ready. Except being ready all the time means I'm never actually here. I'm always 3 steps ahead, managing futures that haven't happened, solving problems that don't exist yet. I used to call that anxiety. Now I call it realism. But I think the only difference is vocabulary. That version of me trusted people differently. Not blindly, not carelessly. But they met people with a kind of openness I don't have anymore. They believed what people said until they had a reason not to. They assumed good intent. They let people in before they'd earned it, because that's how you find out who they are. I don't do that now. Now I wait. I test. I watch for inconsistencies. And the protection works. But it also means I meet everyone from behind glass. That version of me had this softness I don't recognize anymore. Not weakness. Softness. The ability to be affected by things. To let something small ruin your afternoon or make your whole week. To cry easily. To feel things in your body instead of just cataloging them in your mind. I don't cry much anymore. Not because I don't feel things. I do. But somewhere along the way my system just turned the volume down. Not off. Just down. Low enough that I can still function while feeling. And I didn't fight it. Because it was easier. I used to think that version of me just disappeared. That life took them from me. That growing up, surviving, getting hurt enough times that it changes you. And once you're changed, that's just who you are now. But I don't think that's what happened. I think I've been actively choosing to ignore them. Every single day. In 100 small ways I didn't recognize as choices. Here's what I didn't understand. I'm not just protecting myself from future hurt. I'm still protecting myself from hurt that already happened. I'm living like the threat is still active. Like I'm still in the moment that taught me to be careful. Like the person who broke my trust is still in the room. Like the disappointment that crushed me is still coming. The danger passed. But the defense never stood down. When I choose efficiency over curiosity, that's not a personality trait. That's me saying curiosity led to disappointment before, so I'm choosing not to be curious now. When I prepare for the worst, that's not realism. That's me choosing certainty over possibility. Choosing to feel in control of a bad outcome over being surprised by a good one. Because imagining something good and being wrong hurts worse than just expecting bad and being right. I'm not managing the future. I'm managing my relationship with disappointment. And I didn't know that's what I was doing. When I test people before I trust them, I'm not being wise. I'm protecting myself from my own hope. Because hoping they'll be good and being wrong is what actually hurt. Not them. My hope. So I killed my hope before it could hurt me. And I've been calling the person who can't hope realistic. When really they're just more afraid. The volume didn't just turn down on its own. I turned it down. Every time something hurt, instead of feeling it, I narrated it. I treated my emotions like a documentary I was watching about someone else. This is painful. This makes sense that it's painful. This will pass. And that worked. It got me through. But I never turned the volume back up. I just kept living at that distance. And after a while I forgot it was distance. I thought it was just who I became. Here's what I'm realizing. The voice that's been protecting me is the same voice that's been silencing that other version of me. Every time they tried to be curious, I said, that's not practical. Every time they wanted to trust someone, I said, remember what happened last time. Every time they felt something big, I said, don't be dramatic. Every time they imagined something good, I said, don't get your hopes up. I thought I was keeping myself safe. But what I was actually doing was choosing who I wanted to be. And I kept choosing the defended version, over and over. In every small moment, without realizing I was choosing. That version of me didn't die. They didn't disappear. They're still here saying, what if this turns out okay? And I'm still here saying it won't. They're still here feeling things deeply, and I'm still turning the volume down. They're still here wanting to trust people, and I'm still saying not yet, not until you're sure. This isn't a story about loss. It's a story about which voice I've been listening to, and I didn't know I was choosing. I want to be clear about something. The defended version of me isn't wrong. Everything they learned for a reason. Be careful. Because carelessness hurt. Manage expectations. Because hope led to disappointment. Protect yourself. Because openness led to betrayal. Guard your feelings because feeling too much became unbearable. Every single defense made sense when I built it. But here's what I didn't realize. I built these defenses for specific threats. And then I just left them up. For everything. For everyone. Forever. It's like I learned not to touch a hot stove and then I stopped cooking entirely. I learned that some people can't be trusted, so I stopped trusting anyone. I learned that some hopes lead to disappointment, so I stopped hoping at all. I learned that some feelings are too big to bear, so I stopped letting myself feel. The lesson was specific, but I applied it universally. And I've been calling that wisdom. Here's the part that's hard to admit. I didn't just build walls to keep pain out. I built them to keep myself in. To keep that softer, more open, more hopeful version of me from doing something that might hurt again. The walls aren't protecting me from the world. They're protecting me from myself. From my own curiosity, my own hope, my own openness, my own capacity to feel. Because those things have gotten me hurt. And I decided, without realizing I was deciding, that being small and defended was safer than being open and hurt. But here's what that actually means. Every time I choose not to be curious, I'm not avoiding danger.
I'm avoiding possibility.
Every time I prepare for disappointment, I'm not being realistic. I'm experiencing disappointment in advance, before anything even happens. Every time I keep someone at a distance, I'm not protecting myself from them. I'm protecting myself from the vulnerability of wanting connection. Every time I turn the volume down on my feelings, I'm not managing pain.
I'm practicing numbness.
And none of this means I'm broken. It means I learned to survive. And then I kept surviving after the threat was gone. I kept preparing for a war that ended. And I've been calling that who I am now. But it's not who I am. It's what I'm doing. That other version of me, the curious one, the hopeful one, the open one, they're not gone. I've just been talking over them. For so long and so consistently that I forgot they were still speaking. Every moment they're there saying, what if we tried something new? And I'm saying, that's not efficient. What if this person is different? They won't be. What if this works out? It won't. Don't embarrass yourself. This feels big. Can we feel it? No. Narrate it. Stay distant. Stay safe. I thought the defended version of me was the only one who survived. But we both survived. I've just been choosing to only listen to one of us. I don't know what to do with this realization. I don't know how to stop doing something I didn't know I was doing. I don't even know if I want to. Because the defended version of me isn't wrong. The walls work. The distance works. The preparation works. I'm safe now in a way I wasn't before. But I'm also alone in a way I wasn't before. And I'm starting to wonder what the difference is between being safe and being hidden. Here's what I know now that I didn't know before. This isn't permanent. It's not a personality. It's not who I became. It's not the inevitable result of growing up. It's a choice I'm making, over and over, in every moment, and I didn't know I was making it. I've been standing in front of a door, thinking I was in a locked room. I'm not saying the door is open. I'm not saying I know what's on the other side. I'm not even saying I want to walk through it. But I know now that it's a door. And that's not the same as not knowing. I don't know if I can choose differently. The defended version of me has kept me alive. They've gotten me through things the open version couldn't have survived. And maybe that's still true. Maybe the world really is the kind of place where you have to stay defended, where curiosity is naive, where hope is just pre-disappointment, where openness is a liability. Maybe. But I think the truth is more complicated. I think some situations require walls. And I've been bringing the walls to every situation, just in case. I think some people can't be trusted. And I've been treating everyone like they can't be trusted, just to be safe. I think some hopes do lead to disappointment, and I've been killing all hope before it even forms, just to avoid the crash. But here's the question I'm sitting with now. What if the thing I've been calling protection is also the thing that's costing me the most? I don't have an answer. I don't know how to be both safe and open. I don't know how to protect myself without hiding. I don't know how to prepare for disappointment without experiencing it in advance. But I know something's changed. Because now when that defended voice says, "Don't get your hopes up," I hear it as a voice, not as truth, as a choice I'm making, not as reality, as one option, not as the only option. And maybe that's all awareness is. The space between the thought and the belief. The pause between "this might hurt, and so I definitely shouldn't do it." The moment where I realize, I'm choosing this. I spent years thinking that softer version of me was gone, that the defended version was all that remained, that the walls were me, not something I was wearing. But I can feel them now. The walls. And feeling them means they're not me. They're something I put on. I don't know if I can take them off, or if I even should. But I know now that I put them on. Which means, at least in theory, they're not permanent. That version of me, the one I've been talking over, they're still here. Quieter than they used to be. Harder to hear beneath the louder, defended voice. But here. And every moment is a choice about which one I listen to. I didn't know that before. I thought it was just who I'd become. But maybe becoming isn't something that happens to you once. Maybe it's something you do. Every day. In small moments you don't think matter. When you choose efficiency over curiosity. When you choose certainty over possibility. When you choose distance over feeling. When you choose safe over real. I don't know what I'm going to choose tomorrow. Or an hour from now. I don't know if awareness changes anything. But it feels different. Knowing I'm standing in front of a door. Even if I never open it. That version of me I thought I lost? They didn't die. I've just been choosing not to listen. And now that I know I'm choosing, I don't know. But something feels less permanent than it did before. And maybe that's enough for now.